Alrighty, folks, back with another new album review. You may have seen me with this one on the music mailroom episode I did the other day. If you missed that riveting commentary, I'll run through the CD again for you. So this is Starlight Ritual. I believe they're out of Montreal. This is their second full-length album called Rogue Angels. They formed in 2014. They released an EP in 2015. They released an EP in 2016. And they released their debut, which was called Sealed in Starlight, in 2021. Now, 4 years later, we get Rogue Angels. High roller release. Slipcase. Heaven Steel. I don't believe these guys are a Christian band, but there's definitely religious elements and themes that pop up throughout their work. These guys were originally a 5-piece. Damian Ritual on vocals and bass down there, with your classic lineup: vocal, 2 guitar player, bass, drums. But now they're down to a trio. I said you have Damian Ritual. I'm assuming since the band's called Starlight Ritual, it's his band. He's on vocals and bass now. He started playing bass. Went down to 1 guitar player, Toupin. He also does keyboards. And then Bertrand on drums. But they do have lots of guitar harmonies. Lots. They do have quite a bit of guitar harmonies on the album. And sometimes they mimic guitar harmonies with keyboards. So, I don't know how that'll work out as being a trio in concert. You may have to bring on some touring musicians. So your first track is going to be called Lost in the Fold. You get your doomy type riff with in the intro with some hints of Am I Evil, but the pace quickens pretty rapidly. The production's a little bizarre. It's like everything is mixed at the same level except for the snare drum, which seems like it's just like a touch higher. But then it's kind of the drums kind of have a flat production to them, so the production is kind of weird. Really cool breakdown in this tune where it slows to just a guitar, but then of course you get the speedy outro. Your title track is the next one. This one has a real Antioch feel to it. If you guys don't know who Antioch are, they're another Canadian band. I think they're out of Ottawa. Very heavily influenced by Priest, but a little speedier. So yeah, rhythmically and even vocally, there's a definite hints of Antioch in this track. Damian Ritual sounds like he's intentionally adding some more gruff and grit to his voice on this album. More than what I remember from the debut. Crusaders, your next track, it kicks off with some good rolling bass. Lots of tasty guitar runs in this track. Like I said before, Damian was just on vocals. The Damian Ritual was just on vocals, and now he's doing bass work. Really good bass player. He may have canned the old bass player just so he could show off his bass skills. The weird production's still there, and it's a little distracting, but you do eventually get used to it. Far Beyond the Storm is your next one. This one definitely has feels of Countdown to Extinction era Megadeth. I said he was kind of adding a little more grit to his voice. I'm not gonna. He doesn't. On the previous album, he doesn't sound like Dio, but he has a deeper voice like Dio, and he has a really strong voice like Dio. So on a track, especially like this one, it sounds like he's. If Dio tried to sing like Dave Mustaine, that's what that's the voice that you would get here. More nice bass work in this track. Of Words is your next number, slower pace track with a good groove, and you get a nice speedy guitar solo for the outro. And then Omen Killer is your next track. This is probably my favorite track on the album. You get a couple of audio excerpts from the movie The Omen, the Countdown to Extinction era Megadeth voice meets Dio is back. Good fast track with good driving drum beat. Good fiery guitar solo on the outro. The Law is your next number. Another Antioch meets Judas Priest feel on this one. Good speedy number with some nice, really nice guitar work in it. On the Run is your next one. More Antioch inspired tunes here. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just coincidental, both being from Canada. I mean, would prefer more people being inspired by Antioch because they're a killer band. Good guitar and bass riffing on this track. You get a nice bass breakdown on this one, and then they go straight into a blistering solo. Then, of course, by the end of the track, the song's built in this fiery inferno. Exodus is your final track, slow marching track, kind of being driven by a slow marching drum beat and bass lines. You get more keyboards in this one than you've picked up on other tracks. Like I said, there's hints of keyboard in the rest of the album, but I think it's mainly used to accent the guitar and make it sound like guitar harmonies. Now, they have layered guitar harmonies in it, but sometimes I think they're just doing the keyboards and the guitars. And then your last track is called The Aftermath. It's just a 1.5-minute outro. I always complain about bands doing these minute and a half intros on albums, and why don't they just add it to the part of the opening number and make it one track? This one you couldn't even add to the end of Exodus. It doesn't even fit musically with that song. So it's pretty anticlimactic, really, for this to end the album this way. I mean, you ended the album with a slower paced number, and then you have this slow, melodic 1.5-minute outro. So very anticlimactic end to the album. I'm still going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. While I wouldn't say that they were a doom band early on, there was definitely hints of doom in their playing. That is pretty much gone on this album. I mentioned in the beginning, like the opening riff of the track had hints of Am I Evil in it? And then it quickly went into a faster paced number. I think that was them kind of bidding adieu to their doom influence and moving on to this Judas Priest meets Countdown to Extinction era Megadeth, which the bridge between those two bands would be Antioch. But yeah, so there's good guitar work on this one, great bass work on this, good driving drums on it, and the production, you eventually get used to it. It does kind of strike your ears a little bizarre to begin with, but by the end of the album, you don't even notice it anymore. So, Starlight, Ritual, Rogue Angels, 8 out of 10. You guys have a good one.